It's a teen talk skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, 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 and welcome to episode number 78 of a Teen Talks Game podcast. My name is Van Gogh. I hope you guys are all doing very, very well as I talk to you on this fine Friday evening. Not much is really going on, not much has changed. I know I'm always complaining about my crazy life and everything, but not much has changed. I am planning on making a trailer for this podcast. I realize that I've never made a trailer clip officially that shows up as an introduction to the podcast, and it would be probably helpful for at least new viewers anyway. If you're seasoned and experienced for a Teen Talks Game podcast and you've watched every episode, I thank you very much. But the trailer is really not for you unless you want to watch it. That's fine. But yeah, I think it's about time I make a trailer after like a year and a half of this podcast. I still have not made a trailer. But anyway, I hope you guys are all doing very well. My summer is almost over. I think I only have about 2 podcast episodes to record left before I have to go back to school, which is crazy to me. Like, that's crazy. On the good side, it has not been too hot this week at all. Like, I actually feel fine right now with the air conditioner off. Like, I don't think I'm gonna die from heat stroke yet. So that's good. But the summer is, coming to a close. It's gonna, sing its swan song, Swan Lake song. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that might be related to this week's episode. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing very, very well. School might be starting for some people, which is crazy. Work is probably still going on, but you guys are doing very, very well. But let's get to our program of the week and then our main episode because we definitely have a lot of stuff to talk about on the main episode today. I have 13 pages of notes today. Okay, let's go to the program of the week. Program of the week. Okay, guys, you heard the song, you heard the theme, you heard the music, you know that it is time for our program of the week. And for this week's program, it is a program that is a pears program. I know, I don't know what's going on with me. I think the pears infection has gotten to me. I'm watching pears now. No, I wish I could watch more pears without being scared. But anyway, this program of the week is from Minerva Fabian Hasse and Nolan Siegert of Germany. This is way back in 2021. They are not a partnership anymore, but I'm still putting this skate because it's a really good skate. This is their free skate from the Challenger Series 2021 Finlandia Trophy. And the music is set to People Help the People by Birdie, which is a very, very lovely song. I really do think this is a very lovely skate that's set to it. I often find the main I don't know, I often find that pairs programs have to be so, epic and big and emotional and, so, actiony with all the throws and the lifts and everything. I really do think this program is very much the opposite of that. It's a very calm program. It's a quiet program. The epic climax is very much good, but it isn't like this, war music going on. There's no fighting. It's not this huge dramatic piece, but I really do think Hossie and Secret managed to perform really well. At the beginning of it, the music is kind of in twinkling piano vibes, and their finger motions fit that very well. And their arm motions, I think the fingers and the arms in this program are really good. The upper body movement in it is really good. A lot of this program, what I really like is very much the basics, the skating skills, the basics in it. They flow across the ice very, very well, in my opinion. They flow across with a quality that is slow, but it very much that speed really does fit the music really, really well. Some specific moments into this program that are very beautiful. What was I gonna say? They have a very cool entrance to their very third lift. He kind of twists her around and then he doesn't put her down and then he goes into lift, which it looks very, very difficult, and I bet it definitely is. In their choreo sequence, there is this kind of knee sliding moment from Nolan Siegert where she's up, but he is on the ground. He's kind of knee sliding around her, which is a really cool moment. What else was cool in this? There's a few moments choreographically through the program where they're not doing a technical element, but they're still adding something. Like, for example, her leg is spiraled back and he's kind of pulling on that leg to skate them together. Oh, what I really did enjoy after their death spiral, there's this moment where they kind of skate apart in two big circles. but then they separate into big circles and they come together again. But then at the end of the program in the choreo sequence, they repeat the same motion, but then I guess they like do even bigger circles and then they come back together again, which I think is like very symbolic. I really like that because oftentimes, obviously, pairs are always like stuck together. They're always together. It's a pairs thing. But I really do like seeing the separation kind of thing here, but then they're coming back together. It's like it's a good vibe. The combinations at the end, very difficult positions from Hase. She does really great flexibility in her positions. And I just overall I really do think it's a lovely, lovely program with a very lovely piece of music. A song that I really do enjoy, a song that I learned from this program. That I really do enjoy that I think you should go watch. So yeah, definitely go check it out after this episode. Minerva, Fabian Hase, and Nolan Siegert and their free skate at the Challenger Series 2021 Finlandia Trophy to People Help the People by Birdie. Go check it out. It's a very lovely program. I really do think you would enjoy it if you're into that very light, lovely, elegant, and not going to war or something program. I don't know. Those programs are also pretty epic, but I really do like it. So yeah, time for our main episode where I will jabber on for ages and ages. That was your program of the week. Okay, friends, before our main episode, I do want to note that like I've been very active on figure skating Reddit recently and trying to like get some outreach done and like, hey guys, like I exist on this and everything. I don't know. Hopefully we'll bring more fans of the podcast or something. I have no idea. But I've been trying to like and upvote and comment and you know what I mean. Yeah. And something that's been posted a lot on Reddit recently is program announcements because obviously it's the new season and a lot of skaters are posting or their ISU bio website thingamajiggy says what music they're using next season. Some of these choices are kind of crazy. I'm not even admit. I saw that Loporeva and Briso were doing Bjork for their free dance, which is so like on point for them. Very weird, very interesting, very different and unique for them, which I really love. And then there's skaters like I don't really know, like there's skaters I see doing a lot of war horses, which we're gonna talk about this episode. There's skaters doing some really interesting types of music. Some of them are like interesting in a good way. Some of them are like, oh, I don't know about that. Is that really you know what I mean? But obviously, we have not really seen the majority of these programs yet, so time will only tell. Like sometimes, like the music might be bad, but the program might be good. You know what I mean? So sometimes I don't like the music that much, but the program, the actual choreography and the movement, everything that could be good. And I really do think, as time goes on, I feel like programs usually grow on me. That's a big thing for me. Like sometimes I really didn't really like Alyssa Liu's free skate last season until the very end, and then she won worlds with it. It was like super amazing. Like that's when I started liking it. So I do think it'll grow on me, but some of these music nonsense, I'm like, I don't know about that. Anyway, speaking on the topic of music, today we have an episode that is very much related to music, which is a very big thing in figure skating. Obviously, music is a huge deal in figure skating. It's one of the only sports that uses music in such a competitive manner. Perhaps, other sports they might have background music playing, but figure skating, the music is a core part of the actual sport and the actual competition. And so this episode, I will be giving a brief summary of every single figure skating warhorse that I could think of and I could understand and research on the internet. This is an episode that is not really related to any other series. It's not really a video essay. It's not really a skater analysis. It's not really a music analysis. It's not really a competition stuff. But this is just an episode where I'm going to be reviewing every single figure skating warhorse. It's kind of just like a one-off fun episode. So yeah, you might be asking, well, what is a warhorse? Well, clearly you have not been watching or listening to my music warhorse analysis series, because if you did, you would know the answer to that question, right? But anyway, if you didn't listen to them, that's fine. Um, but a warhorse is essentially a piece of music that is very, 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 very like 10,000 times very heavily used by many figure skaters across many big periods of time across many disciplines. Uh, um, excuse me. So much so that it becomes extremely iconic within the fandom. Very much so that like you start dreaming of it, right? You get so tired of it, you cannot hear it anymore. that it starts to appear in your dreams. Like, I'm not even kidding. Some people are literally saying that like they hear these pieces of music in their dreams because they hear it so much in figure skating. They watch so much figure skating, they hear this music so much that they start to hear it in their dreams. They start to hear it in their dreams, they start to hear it in the shopping center, they start to hear it, at sleep at night, they start to hear it in the shower. It's everywhere. It's like Jumanji. That's how I would describe it. You know how in Jumanji, like the kids are in their house and they hear the drum beats over and over. Yeah, that's how it feels. Okay, like sometimes you're like, oh my god, that Carmen, no, 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 no. But literally, like that's kind of the vibe with the Warhorse, is that you cannot get rid of it in your head. It's just always there because you hear it so much in figure skating because so many figure skaters will use it. And why I think this program, or not this program, this episode is kind of relevant right now, discussing the idea of war horses. Obviously, war horses are used every season. We hear them very often every season. But, the Olympic season is usually when the most war horses pop up, I would say. Or a lot of skaters will use war horses during the Olympic season because they usually want to do something very famous and epic and popular for such a famous, popular event like the Olympics. They want to be able to go to the Olympics and really show off a program, a piece of music that a lot of people know that can really appeal to everyone in the audience, everyone in the judges. And so that's why a lot of skaters tend to do war horses, because they're these very big, popular pieces of music, very associated with uh, figure skating, very associated with, figure skating music, etc. And so, for example, in the 2018 Olympics, 4 women skated to Carmen. I'm not even kidding. 4 women skated to Carmen. And, there was a field of 30. So, yes, okay, 4 out of 30. It might not seem like a lot. That's like not even a sixth, right? It's 2/15, you know? But, you're saying, okay, Van Gogh, like, that's 4 women out of 30 skated to Carmen. What are you talking about? But you have to really understand, you have to put this into perspective that if 4 women skated to Carmen and they could pick, again, for their programs, they have 2 programs each, right? They could pick any piece of music in the whole entire world. There are no limitations on what music you can use unless it's like really inappropriate. But like there's really no limitation on what music you could use, and 4 women skated to Carmen, right? Like these are the types of things I'm talking about because when you hear these horses, they're so popular, so many people use them, and instead of using unique or different kind of music, they're really going back to the roots. I think the traditions of figure skating and using these war horses. So check out my series on analyzing war horses if you want. I do have a separate series where I just analyze pieces of music that are very popular in figure skating and why they're very popular and their impact on the sport and everything like that. I've done that with Carmen, with Moulin Rouge, and I think I've done it with Romeo and Juliet just recently, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. But yeah, those are examples of war horses: Carmen, Moulin Rouge, Romeo and Juliet. I guarantee you, at this Olympics, we are going to see a Carmen, we're gonna see a Romeo and Juliet, we're gonna see a Moulin Rouge somewhere in there. I guarantee it. Like I bet you $1 million right now that that will happen. But anyway, this episode, I'm going to be describing and talking about each warhorse, each big, big, big figure skating warhorse anyway. I'm going to be introducing them in different categories to which I think they belong. And those categories are the ballet slash opera warhorses. So that's kind of self-explanatory. The old ballet, opera, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s. Yeah. The second category is the miscellaneous classical music. So this is just classical music in general, concertos, ballads, pieces like that, but they're not a ballet or an opera. Okay. The third one is the films and the musical soundtrack warhorses. So these are the ones that have a movie with them or a musical with them, or even both sometimes if the film was made into a musical or if the musical was made into a film. Crazy. And then the last one is kind of like the general, contemporary music slash popular music songs. Those are really the random ones at the very end. So those are the 4 different categories that I'm going to talk about. And with those categories, I'm going to talk about a short summary of the plot of the movie or ballet or opera. And then also, if it isn't a ballet, movie, or opera or musical, I'm going to talk about like what it kind of sounds like. If it's a very big piece, for example, I'm going to talk about the common parts of the music being used. I'm going to talk about a famous example of the music being used, which is really me being biased and like, I really liked Katarina Witt's Carmen in 1988. And then the most important thing for me, because I'm heavily opinionated, is does it get my Warhorse seal of approval? Does it get Van Gogh's Warhorse seal of approval? Do I think it is a good Warhorse? Or do I think we should never be using this piece ever again? A lot of these I am very much yes for. A lot of them are I'm like, no, 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 no. Like some of them haunt me and I just don't, no, 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 no. And then before we really, really get started, I would say that these are definitely not all the war horses. There are a lot of war horses in figure skating. These are definitely not all of them. I try to get all the major ones. So sorry, but it's difficult to really define what a war horse is. I feel like a lot of people have an opinion that it should be more broad. A lot of people more think it should be more specific. But anyway, I tried my best. Don't be mad at me, please. I'm sorry. Okay. Our first category is the ballet slash opera war horses, starting with, the king of war horses, the queen of war horses, I should say. And that is Carmen by Georges Bizet. And Carmen is the most infamous war horse in figure skating. We're starting strong. We're starting strong. That's what I'm saying. The plot of Carmen is basically that there is this woman named Carmen, and there are two men who kind of both want her attention. One of them is named Escamillo, and the other one is named Don Jose, I think, or just Jose, Don Jose, something like that. But basically, it's a big kind of love triangle. Carmen gets arrested at one point, but then she breaks free using the power of a song. It's kind of crazy. But what you gotta know is that these two men are fighting over her, and at the end, I believe Escamillo is the one who ends up killing Carmen. So Carmen dies at the end. And this is very much used because it is super dramatic, it's super romantic, obviously. The famous parts of it are habanera, which is dun 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 dun. Yeah, you probably heard it. There's the dance of the toreadors, and there is the Aragonese, I believe is what it's called. So those three pieces are really going to be the main things you hear in Carmen. But I would say in all of them, you're going to hear habanera. You've definitely heard habanera, even if you're not a figure skating fan. Go search it out right now. You have heard habanera from Carmen for sure. It's kind of the music to like sneak around houses in, I feel like. Anyway, that is Carmen. I have a whole video essay about Carmen if you're interested in it. My preferred Carmen program to watch is Katarina Witt and her 1988 Free Skate to Carmen. It is the most iconic Carmen program. She is Carmen in that program. She is Carmen in the sense that there's no one better than her at skating to Carmen in that program, and that's why she's Carmen in that program. Yeah. Does it get my Warhorse seal of approval? Yes, in my opinion, it does. I do approve of Carmen. Yes, I know it's used every competition. Sometimes I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of seeing it too. But I really do think Carmen is complex enough and different enough that I really do think it forces skaters to be more expressive. And I really do obviously enjoy the artistry aspect of figure skating. That's my favorite part about figure skating is that artistry aspect. And I think that Carmen, the music of Carmen really requires you to be expressive. Otherwise, the program really just fall flat. I really do think skating to Carmen is kind of the ultimate test to a figure skater's performance ability. And so, yes, I really do think it's a good piece to develop artistry in that way. Next up, we have Swan Lake by good old Pyotr Tchaikovsky. This is the cause of all mayhem in figure skating. I feel like not really, but basically, Swan Lake is a ballet. It is about a princess who gets turned into a swan by an evil lover, evil wizard. He's this old evil wizard, and he turns women into swans on a lake, which is why it's called Swan Lake. Anyway, this prince dude falls in love with the princess when she's not. They like change form sometimes, I guess. But this prince dude falls in love with her, and if he falls in love with her for eternity, she can be human again. But the wizard does not like this, so the wizard ends up sending an illusion of the same princess, and the prince thinks that the illusion princess is his original princess, and he falls for the illusion princess, which makes the original princess mad. So she ends up wanting to drown herself in the lake. But then he realizes his mistake, and then he and his original princess both die together at the end to be together forever. What you're gonna see, honestly, in a lot of figure skating programs is the theme of death, which sounds morbid, but like it's true. Like I gotta say it's true. Like the theme of death in figure skating programs is true. Figure skaters love to go that dramatic, theatrical route with the idea of death with it. Anyway, the famous pieces you're gonna hear from Swan Lake are definitely the overture and the pas de deux, or the duet. I really do think Swan Lake is very much an ice dancers kind of vibe. But the perfect I have is a women's single skate from Caitlin Osmond, her 2018 free skate at the Olympics, to Swan Lake, but also Black Swan, which Black Swan is a movie that is kind of its own Warhorse, but it's based off of Swan Lake. So technically, this one is Swan Lake and Black Swan. But does it get my seal of approval? I honestly do think it's a meh for me. It's not terrible. It's not good. I just don't think Swan Lake is like I haven't heard enough of it to really like it that much. I feel like it's good. I feel like the drama in the music is like overdone. Sorry, Tchaikovsky. It's a little like it's so over the top, and I feel like you really, really need a big epic moment to be able to match that drama. And so maybe that's why the music itself falls kind of flat for me, maybe. But there's definitely very big performance quality with this if you're able to skate to it very well. But honestly, as a music piece, I don't really enjoy that much. So that's why I'm putting it in meh. Okay. Now, because Tchaikovsky just cannot shut up with his music, we have another ballet by Tchaikovsky that is also very used in figure skating, and that is the Nutcracker. The Nutcracker is a very, very famous ballet. It's a little more lighthearted. It's about a girl named Clara who has kind of a dream that she's taken to this, different Christmas wintry world. And there's a sugar plum fairy queen. There's a night nutcracker, and there's like a big villain that's like a rat, I want to say, and he's trying to steal Christmas, or he's trying to ruin the winter vibes or whatever. But Clara and the Nutcracker, I believe, like end up beating him. It's been a while since I watched it in the second grade. I'm not even kidding. I watched it in the second grade, and this is my knowledge of it now. But as I remember correctly, they're beating the rat or the villain guy, and it's very lighthearted, happy. It's definitely a very much more children's thing, but it definitely still has very mature tones to it that I think lends itself very well to figure skating. Famous parts of the Nutcracker include the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy and the overture, because Tchaikovsky just loved his overtures. And a program I would recommend of the Nutcracker is Charlie Guignard and Marco Fabri, their 2017 free dance to the Nutcracker, which is very interesting, very different because they have interesting costumes for it. Usually for the Nutcracker, they literally skate out, they costume themselves as Nutcrackers, or maybe as Clara, maybe for um, a dance program, maybe. But Guignard and Fabry have like music notes going on, which is really interesting, but I think it's cool. Does it get my seal of approval? I do think the Nutcracker is better than Swan Lake. You heard it. I'm sorry, the Nutcracker is better than Swan Lake. Van Gogh said that 2025. I'm sorry, but it's just better. The music's better in my opinion. It's lighthearted, but it's still serious, and I do think there's a lot of more varying tones that can be used in a figure skating program. Next up, we have a favorite of mine, and that is the Firebird by Igor Stravinsky. The Firebird is a ballet, and it is about a firebird, which is kind of like a phoenix, but it is a symbol of Slavic culture, I believe. It's very like in Slavic mythology. And the Firebird is about this firebird who is captured by this guy, this prince, who uses the Firebird to help him kill this evil wizard guy who captures other people and turns them into stone. And I do think like the Firebird is supposed to be an example or like symbolic of freedom and also bravery, because she's the one helping people break free from this wizard with the help of this prince. Famous parts of it are the supplication of the Firebird and infernal dance. And my favorite Firebird program is from Alexandra Fagan of Bulgaria. It's her 2021-2022 free skate. She performed at the Olympics. I thought it was a really great program. The Firebird is very associated with red. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of red, you're going to see orange, and you're going to see a lot of bird movements, if that makes sense. Very bird image. It's more bird than Swan Lake to me. The Firebird over Swan Lake. Anyway, does it get my seal of approval? I think obviously that's a yes. I really do think the Firebird is fun. I would honestly personally skate to the Firebird. If you had to ask me what ballet or opera I would skate to, I would say the Firebird, because I think it's a very dramatic piece of music, but it's a little fun, it's different, it's nature, it's not there's no words, it's just birds. Birds and fire and flames and lava and stealing other people's, I don't know, stuff. Okay, our last one in the ballet slash opera category is in fact our only opera. So I don't really know why this is a category, but it's one opera. And that opera is Turandot by Puccini. I will say, like, Turandot is like the least known, like, in the general public, I guess, out of all these pieces of music. But Turandot by Puccini from Italy. Basically, this is about a princess named Turandot, and all these men want this princess named Turandot, but she has these riddles that none of them can solve until one man comes along. His name is Calaf, I believe is how you say it. And he ends up solving her riddles. And he flips the table and he's like, well, I solved your riddles, you solved mine. And she has to, Turndo, she has to figure out his name before I think the sun sets the next day or something. But I think she figures out his name and then they fall in love. They fall in love, they're happy ever after, but some tragic stuff happens at the end. No idea. Their most famous part of Turandot is the song Nessun Dorma, which I believe translates to "Do not sleep," or maybe it's "Go to sleep." I know dorma is sleep in Italian, but I don't know Nessun. I think it's "Do not sleep" or something. Maybe it's because like she can't sleep until she figured out his name or something. I don't know, but it's a very famous part, and there's also many, many, many instrumental versions of it that people skate to. But the most famous program of Nessun Dorma would definitely be Shizuka Arakawa and her 2006 free skate at the Olympics, which she won gold with. But honestly, Turandot in general, I think I'm gonna give it a meh in the seal of approval category. It's good. Like, I don't know, I never had like big feelings for it. I've never had like my favorites. I've never had my favorite, kind of vibes for it. But anyway. Okay, so that was the ballet opera category. Moving on, we still do have classical music, except this is not ballet and not um what is it? Not ballet and it's not opera, but it's just classical instrumental music. First off is Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto Number 2. Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto Number 2, what it sounds like, because there's no plot, I guess, to the movie, there's no plot. But basically, Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto Number 2 sounds like you're gliding along a river, but at the end of the river, maybe there's a crack in the ice and your skater is going to collapse on you. And it actually does at the very end, and that's how you end off. That's how the movie ends off. That's how I would describe it. There is an allegro moderato, I believe, in this, or a very slow lente part of the Rachmaninoff piano concerto that a lot of people use. A lot of people also use the very ending of it, which has kind of like slamming the door vibes, like really pressing into the piano keys. My favorite program to recommend off Piano Concerto Number 2 is Mao Asada's 2014 free skate at the Olympics. It's so iconic. The step sequence is so, so, so good. But yeah, I think Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto Number 2 has my seal of approval. It's a very versatile piece of music, as you can see, as you will hear, I guess, in figure skating. It's a very long concerto, so naturally there's a lot of parts to kind of pick from, to choose from, that you can pick, and I do think that makes it very interesting, as it is very versatile. It's not very one-toned at all. But yeah, next up we have Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy. Clair de Lune means moonlight, and I do think that really does describe this really well. Moonlight looking out at a river that no one is around you, and suddenly the river turns to ice, and you can just glide and glide on it forever, and it's a peaceful night. Okay. That's what it sounds like. The whole thing is very famous. Carolina Costner has an exhibition program set to Clair de Lune that I really do enjoy. You should go check it out. I don't remember when she did it. I want to say 2016 era was that time, but very iconic. My seal of approval, yes. I have very fond memories of Clair de Lune, both in figure skating and also just in life. Like I've listened to it many times. It's a great relaxing song. Like JVC knew what he was doing. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay. Um, continuing on the theme of moonlight related songs, we have the Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven. To me, this is the opposite of Clair de Lune. Clair de Lune is a very peaceful night. Moonlight Sonata is an intense night. And in that way, it means like the bats are coming out, the witches are coming out, and you gotta escape somehow or something. It sounds concerning. You sound worried. It sounds worried. Does that make sense? The music, if it was a person, it sounds worried. It's a worried midnight. Does that make sense? I maybe not. The whole thing is kind of famous anyway. A program that's famous to it is Papadakis and Cicerón, their 2018 freelance to it. Does it get my seal of approval? No, I don't like Moonlight Sonata that much, honestly. There's other options for it. I don't know, it makes me feel tense. I don't know what it is about it. It makes me breathe a little heavy. Moonlight Sonata is not a good relaxing song to me. It makes me breathe a little heavy. I don't know. No. Okay. Previously, we had Swan Lake, but have you ever had The Swan by Camille Saint Saëns? The Swan sounds like exactly what it sounds like. It is a very calm piece of music. It's part of his Carnival of the Animals. The Swan is elegant. It's delicate. It is very dancing on your tippy toes kind of vibes. I believe it is supposed to be about a dying swan, so it's kind of almost it's a bit somber in that way, a little melancholy in that way, but still it's so delicate, it's so elegant, and people who can perform it well just have very excellent performance quality. One of those programs was Isabel Levito and her 2022 short program at US Nationals. Very lovely program, very good extension. This is a program you need extension. If you're gonna be the swan, you need to be the flexible swan, you know? Like that is the vibe you have with this. I love the swan. It gets my seal of approval. Again, another piece I think you really have to perform to if you're gonna perform to it. You have to really put your heart into it for sure. Okay, next we have Danse Macabre by, again, Camille Saint-Saëns. This is translated to the Dance of Death, which I would actually say it sounds like death. Um, it kind of sounds like you're running through a haunted house, maybe, but the haunted house is actually not that scary. It's made by kids. Uh, and then it's very dramatic, has these flourishes like dun 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 dun. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're running through a haunted house. There's a jump scare every once in a while, but overall it's not that scary. That's how I describe it. It's just dramatic. It's not scary. It's just like, whoa, those face masks they have are really like, very extreme. A very famous program for this is Yuna Kim and her 2009 short program at the World Figure Skating Championships. My seal of approval, yes. I honestly do think Danse Macabre is like one of the warhorses that isn't often used. It's still a warhorse, but it's not often used. But I think people should still use it more often. I really do like it. I think it has a very like fun s to it. It's like running, it's fun, but it's also haunted and it's also a little in between that, and I think it's good. Okay. Next up, we have the very cursed Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Antonio Vivaldi decided that he was going to make a piece for every season: spring, summer, autumn, and fall. Each one of these sounds different. Spring and fall to me are kind of inversely of each other, which makes sense. Summer sounds very light and happy and elegant. Spring sounds like a rush of wind. Fall is not very used that often, but fall is um interesting. And winter it sounds creepy. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it sounds like a clock ticking down for a time bomb, and you don't even know where the time bomb is, and you're looking for it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I would say winter is actually the one that's used the most. It sounds like tense, and you want to escape it, and then the winding goes down, and it explodes into this epic dun 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 dun. Like it's just this epic flowy melody of music, and it's great. A great program to it is Shoma Uno and his 2018 free skate at the Olympics. Does it get my seal of approval? No, because people don't even use all four seasons most of the time. They literally use winter and maybe spring. Like I want to see some appreciation for summer and autumn sometime. Autumn I actually think is a really good one compared to the rest. Winter is straight up creepy to me. I don't know what it's about. It's a little scary. It kind of makes you hold on to your seat a little bit. Winter. Okay, next up we have Bolero by Maurice Ravel. This is a very unique piece of classical music because it's literally the same melody happening over, excuse me, over and over and over and over again for like 20 minutes. I'm not even kidding. If you listen to the whole thing, it is the same melody over and over again with the same instruments over and over again for like 20 minutes. The only difference is it gets louder as it goes on, and so that makes it a very unique piece of music, in my opinion. For example, it could start off very quiet in the program, but then at the end of the program, it's still the same melody, still the same instruments, but it is much louder. It sounds like a circus, a carnival compared to the light, Jumanji-ish drumming in the beginning. It sounds like a circus or a carnival. It's very fun, it's very interesting, and it's very mature thing to skate to Bolero, I feel like. So famous parts, kind of the whole thing, the beginning being quiet, the end being loud. That's what you're looking for. The program you have to mention here is Jane Torville and Christopher Dean's 1984 Olympic free dance. I just made an episode about Torville and Dean literally last week about this Bolero music too, and why I only spent like 10 minutes on this one program, and that's why it's so significant. Does Bolero get my seal of approval? It depends, okay? Because Bolero is so unique in my opinion that it's make or break. It's one another. You gotta take one or the other. It's either a really good program or it's just like you just didn't you were skating to nothing. You could have skated to air. I don't know. Like I feel like it really does depend on Bolero if it's good Bolero or not. On the choreography, on the connection of the music. But yeah, okay, the last one in the classical category is Scheherazade by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. This is based on the story Scheherazade and the Thousand Nights, 100 Nights, 1,000 Nights. And it sounds like Rimsky-Korsakov was trying to get it to sound oriental. That's a really bad term to use, definitely, but that's what he was trying to make it sound like, I guess. Oriental, Middle Eastern, ancient, I guess, in that way, ancient, but I don't really know. It was interesting. But he's yeah, definitely not like the right term to use for it. So definitely apologize for that. But that's kind of what Rimsky Korsakov was kind of into. He is a very good composer. I really do like his pieces, but with Scheherazade, he was going for that different Middle Eastern vibe that's just not no. But a good program to it is Michelle Kwan and her 2002 Olympic free skate. Does it get my seal of approval? I think it depends. Some programs I like to it, some are not so good, but I think overall it's decent. But again, it's not really like. But yeah, that's how I feel about Scheherazade. Not too good, not too bad, kind of in the middle. Anyway, that was Scheherazade, and now we have our last two categories. First of all, is the film and musical soundtrack category. These are the warhorses that are from movies or musicals, so obviously they come from the 1900s or the 2000s, obviously, because that's when the movies, you know what I mean. I cannot explain half the stuff I'm talking about half the time. Anyway, the first one is Schindler's List by John Williams. This is a movie I've actually watched. This is about the Holocaust, and it is about Oscar Schindler, which is a real story, by the way. It is about Oscar Schindler, who is German, I believe, and he's in the Nazi party, but he actually saves many of the Jewish people who are being prosecuted for their beliefs in Nazi Germany during World War II and during the Holocaust, and he ends up saving a lot of them on his list of people. They end up working at his factory to save them. So very very beautiful movie, very haunting and important movie, obviously, and very much used in figure skating. The theme from Schindler's List, the main theme, and the song "I Could Have Done More" are very used in this. The program you need to watch. I'm not even saying you should. You should watch. You need to watch is Jason Brown in his 2022 Olympic free skate to Schindler's List. It's beautiful, and yeah, definitely gets my seal of approval because it's beautiful, it's important, it's relevant, it's so key to yeah, so good. Okay, next up we have the Mission by Ennio Morricone. This is in a movie and a movie. This is a movie about a Jesuit missionary who goes to South America to convert, I believe, the indigenous population there, and that's why it's called the mission because he has a mission. But I believe there's like some war conflict going on in the area. There's violence. It's difficult, but in the end, he has this oboe, this musical instrument that I do think is like I think it's like important to the plot somehow. I haven't watched it, not gonna lie, sorry. But anyway, famous part is a song called Gabriel's Oboe. The missionary's name is Gabriel. He has an oboe. You got it. The famous program for this is Mai Mihara and her 2018 free skate. This is honestly the mission. Like I've never really liked the music too much. Not gonna lie, it's not even a meh for me. I've never loved it. I never hated it, but it's good. It's lyrical. It's nice. But yeah, yeah. Okay. The next one is broad because it's Romeo and Juliet. Like I just put Romeo and Juliet. There are many movie versions of Romeo and Juliet. There's an opera or there's a ballet that I didn't mention earlier, but there is a Romeo and Juliet from the 60s. There's one from the 90s, and then one that was made, I believe, in 2013. But Romeo and Juliet in general, Romeo and Juliet is a very famous story, obviously, by William Shakespeare, telling the story of Romeo and Juliet, two teenagers who are star-crossed lovers who end up dying because their families hate each other and all this plot happens and both of them end up dying at the end, which really like proclaims their undying love for one another despite coming from these rival families. Um, but yeah, so there's a lot of famous ones, obviously. A Time for Us from the 60s version is very famous, and then Loving You from the 90s version is very famous. Brady Tennell and her 2019 Free Skate is very good to it. I do like Romeo and Juliet because I think, again, it's very dramatic, it's very interesting, it's dramatic, it fits all the right notes. I have made a podcast episode just about Romeo and Juliet before. Okay, next up we have The Piano by Michael Nyman. This is about I haven't actually did not know the plot of this movie before, but it is about a woman who plays the piano to be able to communicate, her struggles between two men, one that she loves and one that uses her, and but then she finds freedom at the end with the one she does love, but she ends up losing her precious piano in that process. A very famous part of this is called The Scent of Love. And a program from it is Kari Sakamoto's 2019 Free Skate, which I think is very good. And yeah, it's okay. Again, like the mission, the piano, the mission, I feel like those are man, like they're good, but like they're not my favorite. What is one of my favorites, however, is La La Land by Justin Hurwitz. This is another movie I've watched, a very recent movie. I think it's just 2016 or 2017. But La La Land by Justin Hurwitz is about two artists, two lovers, Mia, who wants to be an actress, and Sebastian, who wants to be, I think, a jazz pianist who wants to own his own club. It is about the dreams that they have, that they go to Los Angeles to achieve these dreams. They both fail at, you know, doing having these dreams multiple times. It's about success, it's about love, it's about supporting one another through times of hardship, and it's very good. Like you need to watch it. It's so good. Famous parts of this it's a musical movie. Audition, The Fools Who Dream is a very good song. On Another Day is Sun is a good song, and then City of Stars, as well as me and Sebastian's theme. The program I recommend is Kazuki Tomono and his 2022 Free Skate at Worlds, because that program is so full of energy. It's full of La La Land. It's full of energy. You should go watch it. Does it get my seal of approval? Yes, it does. It's a great movie, great music. Just what a good story to skate to if you choose to do that. Okay, next up we have the behemoth, I feel like, of movie music, and that is Titanic by James Horner. Titanic obviously is about the ship, the Titanic, and its crash, but it's also about the story of two lovers named Jack and Rose who Jack ends up dying in the Titanic, and Rose ends up surviving, and their romance and their passion, and it's about love, but it's ultimately a tragic love story of the Titanic, which ends up crashing, as we all know. The famous part of it is definitely the song. Oh my God, what is it called? Celine Dion song. Celine. I literally wrote just Celine Dion. My love will always go. My love will always go on. Is that what it's called? Is that what it's called? Celine Dion Titanic. My Heart Will Go On. That's what it's called. Okay. Okay. A good program for the Titanic is Rika Kira and her 2023 Free Skate. Does it get my seal of approval? Yes, for sure. Okay, the next one is James Bond. In general, James Bond is a huge franchise. Obviously, there's multiple movies of James Bond, and there's multiple. I couldn't explain all of them, but obviously, James Bond is 007. He's a spy. He's an agent. He goes around the world doing super cool missions. It's a spy movie. It's suspenseful. It's a thriller. Very famous ones from James Bond. There's a theme from James Bond that's very famous, as well as the song Skyfall by Adele. So many programs of Skyfall, I promise you. And I feel like recently the Billie Eilish one, what is it? No Time to Die? Is that what it's called? No Time to Die. That one's pretty famous too. Probably I need to recommend, you need to watch this one too. Jason Brown 2022 Olympics and Wakaba Higuchi 2018 World Free Skate. The most iconic world's free skate, like in the whole century. It's so good. The Skyfall, so good, so good, so good, so good. Big seal of approval. I think James Bond fits well with figure skating because it's again thriller, it's epic, it's crazy, it's cool. Okay. Okay, the last two are two musicals. The first one being Phantom of the Opera by Andrew Lloyd Webber. This is a story about this opera singer. Her name is Christine, and she kind of gets kidnapped by the ghost of the opera, the literal phantom of the opera. But I think they kind of fall in love at the same time or something. I don't know. Famous parts include Think of Me and The Music of the Night. Program to watch is Davis and White, their 2010 free dance. Do I like it? Yeah, I do think in general I like it. I don't have a big connection with it though, for sure. And then last one for this category in the film musical category is Les Miserables by Claude Michel Schoenberg. And this is about, I think right after the French Revolution, like during times of hardship in France. And it's about many people who are suffering and the people like that are in poverty or in economic hardship and their struggles, like Jean Valjean and the other characters in this thing. But it's ultimately a battle for struggle and for representation in this story, which is really good. Really, beautiful to watch. Famous parts include Do You Hear the People Sing and I Dreamed a Dream. I Dreamed a Dream is so good. And then Young Yu of South Korea has a free skate at the 2022 Olympics at Les Mis. That is really good. Okay, our last, very, very last category is all the contemporary music slash popular song Warhorses. So think of songs that came out, in, the last few decades for sure. These are songs with lyrics. These are songs with, people singing. But anyway, the first one would be Exogenesis by Muse. You have heard this if you are a figure skating fan. Exogenesis sounds very ethereal, almost like rising to heaven, but then you kind of fall back down or something. And it's I think it's about kind of a relationship to the song is very epic. There's very sparse words in it, but one famous phrase from it is "Let's start over again," but he holds again. And I do think it's kind of about a relationship at the same time, but maybe it's also about like rebirthing yourself, I guess. Amber Glenn has a 2024 free skate at Nationals that's so good to Exogenesis, so go check it out. But is it my favorite? Not really, honestly, but Okay, next up is Rain, comma, In Your Black Eyes by Ezio Bolso. This is a piano piece. What does it sound like? It sounds like rain. I have to admit, it does kind of sound like rain to me. But rain that starts off very quiet and it's just sprinkling and then it builds up to like a downpour of emotion, like really rain in your eyes, like you are so blinded by this rain. But the whole thing is very famous. Again, another common thing to do with this music is to start slow with it and then build up to that epic part of it. Sway and Han have a 2021 Paris free skate to it that's really good. At Worlds, they did that. I thought it was very good. Okay. Next up is the song Experience by Ludovico Einaudi. This is another orchestral piece. Uh, it sounds like a galloping horse. That's what I would say it sounds like. It sounds like a galloping horse. If that was a sound you could create with, violin strings, is, the sound of a galloping horse. That's how, yeah, I feel like that's a good description. Yeah, a galloping horse with very screech, like the screech, a good screech of the violin. Yeah. Olga Mikutina has a 2021 free skate to experience that I really do think is good. And another song by Ludovico Einaudi called Primavera, but experience is kind of the second main one in that. And I do think it's a good song and like meh in that. It depends on how it's used. There is a song with lyrics to experience called Circles by Greta Svabo Bach, I believe is her name. I don't know if I got that wrong. I'm very sorry. But again, it's just lyrics to the song experience, which is really beautiful as well. Coldplay, who has really been in the news recently for interesting reasons. Coldplay has a song called "Fix You." They have very big songs, obviously, but Coldplay, the band, has the song "Fix You," which I think is the most famous, thing about in figure skating. It's about a person struggling, a person who needs help. Maybe it's your friend, maybe it's a stranger, maybe it's your lover, and you're promising that you will fix them. You're gonna help them through their situation, their hardship, their challenges for sure. And the program I want to choose for it is Pinero and Fraser, their 2023 free skate. This is a song that starts very slow, and I do think their program starts slow as well, but it builds up at the very end in the bridge and the main chorus at the end. Um, and it's about just helping people. I think it's a really beautiful song, actually. I actually will give it my seal of approval. Very good. Very, very good. I really do think Coldplay hits the spot, but maybe not recently in the news, Interesting stuff. Okay, last song. I feel like a lot of people don't say this a Warhorse, but I think it is. I hear it a lot in my opinion. And that is a song Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. A lot of people have covers by Katie Lang, by other artists as well, but Hallelujah, originally by Leonard Cohen. This is a song based on the Bible, about biblical stories about David. Um, what was the other one? I think Samson and Delilah is mentioned in Hallelujah as well. And it is a very deep and soulful song, I would say, but very beautiful moments, very beautiful notes. And the program you need, again, this is a must watch, is Mariah Bell and her 2020 free skate at US Nationals. Go watch that one. I really do love Hallelujah. I think it's a beautiful piece, it's a beautiful song. I think you should go watch it. The program, Mariah Bell's 2020 free skate. But that was all of the war horses that I had listed, I guess. I'm sorry if, like, I missed your favorite. I'm sorry, I missed your favorite. I know I didn't get to all of them. There's definitely some I missed. I can't think of them right now, but I definitely missed some that were probably really important. Honestly, I just mentioned Samson and Delilah. That was probably one that I could have put on here. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry I did it to you. I'm sorry, okay? But I'm very sorry that I missed your favorite. But I hope you guys enjoyed the ones I did get to. I feel like I probably discussed 30 or so on here. I feel like those are, the main ones you'll hear. But I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Next week episode will definitely be something different. Maybe a video essay, maybe this, maybe that. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I kind of just make it up. But we're getting closer to me going back to school, which sucks, unfortunately. But we're also getting closer to really the start, the brand, the fresh start to the figure skating season, and all the competitions that go along with it. And I'm very excited for that. So yeah, that is all for this week's episode. I will see you next week for some random episode. Thank you so much for listening to episode 78 of the Teen Talk Scene podcast. My name is Van Gogh. I hope you have an amazing week, and bye bye.